or the job title, Robert?
My job title, I'm Robert Schuwer, and I'm an independent advisor and researcher on open educational resources in the Netherlands and
Hmm.
beyond.
I see. So, which educational institution or organization are you affiliated with? Like, I heard that
None,
you are from, okay, you totally
none.
freelancer.
Actually I'm retired already.
I see.
But I started my own business, and I'm doing mostly in the Netherlands, but not only in the Netherlands. I'm doing some jobs on, or some assignments on, for research and for advisory.
Hmm.
And I'm also affiliated to a master program at the University of Nova Gorica. Well, maybe you can consider that an
That's fine.
affiliation, but I'm only joining this university for giving some courses in this program, but I'm not actually a member of it. So I have no research assignment or so on. So it's only for those courses, and I get only paid for doing these courses.
Oh, I see. So, how long have you been retiring, Robert?
Since beginning of last year, so almost two
Oh,
years now.
almost
Yeah.
2 years. I see. Having good life. Okay.
Yeah, this is
Uh,
I like the no pressure at all on everything I'll do, and so I like it very much. And I'm still, people approach me for doing some things or ask me things like you do, and so no, but I have all the time to do this, and to think about this, and that's actually the uh, most the part I like the most. You have time to think.
yeah, that's right. So, actually, which educational institution that you were affiliated with before you retired?
Um, my last institution, and was I was a professor on OER, was at the Fontys University of Applied Sciences in Eindhoven in the Netherlands.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so could you talk a little bit more about the organization that you worked with before? What is that like? What is that about? The organization, the university?
It is a general university. It is well, on applied sciences, so it is not a research university, but it is University of Applied Sciences. And
Mhm.
I was involved in the at the School of ICT, so the computer science education programs. And there I was appointed as Professor OER. But actually,
Mm.
that was not the right position at that institution. It would be after it would have been wiser if I was positioned at the educational faculty. But at that time, only it was an initiative of the computer science department, who wanted to do more with
Mhm.
OER, and therefore created this position. But I was a kind of lone wolf within this department, and so the last 4 years of my of this, because I was there 8 years, and the last 4 years I
Mhm.
was involved in an innovation program, a Dutch national innovation program, where I was the project leader for the project, which was about open educational resources. And we developed with several institutions, several universities, and University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands. We have developed several tools and reports about OER and
Mhm.
adopting OER. So.
I see. That's how you become the godfather of OER. Am I right?
Yeah, maybe. I was involved in OER since 2006. I was one of the first people in the Netherlands who was involved in it, and
Yeah.
made it. Yeah, after a couple of years, it was a full-time activity of me being involved with OER. So then it
Mhm.
is easy to become the godfather, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. So, but I read that your background is about mathematics and also computer science. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm sure that you might already heard a lot about artificial intelligence and stuff like that. That could be
Well,
something very
actually, it
familiar
was my
with you.
PhD topic in 1993. I did a PhD on artificial intelligence, but
Oh,
it was
cool.
expert systems. So that is that was a paradigm of AI where because there was not so much data available as it is currently, where you can have data
Hmm.
for machine learning and so on. You had to formulate the rules with which the expert system was able to reason and with the input of some data, it could
Hmm.
reason what would be what it could generate new data and inform the user of the system about, for instance, next steps and so. And
Hmm.
mostly this knowledge, these rules were from human experts. So that
Hmm.
was so therefore it was called expert systems.
Oh,
And I
that's
did my
interesting.
PhD on that. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, yeah, that's good. So that's why I think you should be the right person to be in this research because we're gonna ask you how do you, since AI can mean different things to different people, right? So what do you call AI?
Uh, we had at that time when I heard the definition of AI, which is AI is considered with tasks for which people think 20 years ago people thought it would involve intelligence.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that was at that time the definition of AI, and I always liked the definition very much. So because it is I don't know if it is still a valid definition for the current paradigm, but at that time I think it was a very logical definition because when you extract the rules with which an expert is reasoning, you get near expert performing systems, which is not on the level of the expert because the expert only also has a lot of knowledge which he or she is not able to formulate or which he or she cannot it cannot be transformed into rules for
Hmm.
reasoning. And so therefore you always get a system which is because you know the rules, you can
Hmm.
ask yourself, is this intelligent? And therefore this definition is people thought it would involve intelligence to solve the task the expert systems or artificial intelligence could do. That's that's the definition of AI at that time. Well, currently, I haven't thought actually about a definition of a artificial intelligence because I don't know what intelligence is. So I don't know what when you would call something artificial.
Hmm.
Maybe artificial because it's not from a human. Maybe that would be the best definition or the best proxy for AI. It is a kind of behavior machines perform without without using a human for it.
Hmm.
Maybe that is artificial. I don't know.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Interesting. Thank you, Robert. So as you also have experience with open education as well. So, like what does open means to you in open education? What does open mean?
Open for me is
Yeah.
at the base it is about removing barriers
Areas.
to education. That's what open is, and those barriers can be financial. Those barriers can be about not having the for instance, not using the language which is understood by the learners. It's about removing barriers for in the kinds of removing barriers which hinder a learner for an optimal experience all those kinds. That for me is openness in education. So actually the most it is about OER, but it's not only about OER in my opinion.
Yeah, so building on what you have shared about AI and open education, how did you define openness in the context of AI in education?
Well, I think there are several factors you can. I do it more general, and you can apply that to education, because I don't know if education is such special about this, but openness in AI in general. I think there are several factors for me. Well, first is that you are using open source systems. The AI system is open. So for instance, well, the OpenAI, I think is that you can in GitHub you see you can see the code, you can download the code, you can install it, and so that's for me is one aspect of openness. It is also the language models, because when you think about generative AI, but also on AI based on some forms of machine learning, neural nets, those models behind it should also be open. So and should also be transparent. So it should be clear what data was used in training these models and on what data it is based. So that is also one aspect of OpenAI, which I find very important. The third one is that the models that you can use, that you can that you can use it independently of internet. Here you talk about barriers. That's why I sent you a screenshot of Studio LM, because that's I have now on the same computer which I'm using Teams. I have a local AI system running. So that is LM Studio, and I have an LLM downloaded, and so I don't need the internet now for using an AI system, and I can also use my own documents which I have stored locally in this system, and prompt this system for all things I want to know using this model and using my own documents. So I think that is I find this very important, especially in the because I think that makes the AI more inclusive and more accessible for everyone in the world, not only for the ones who have high bandwidth internet connections, and you can, and by this option you can also train your local model with your own documents in your own culture, in your own language. So that's for me a very important one. And the last is that I think open AI systems should be able to explain its behavior. So when an AI system gives a result, it should also be able to explain how it came to this result, and in terms which are understandable for the human who needs this result. And that's, I think, is also necessary for creating acceptance for these kinds of systems, so that people know and are aware of what and behave critical to these systems when the system is able to explain itself. So that's for me are the oh no, and the last one I've forgotten one is that it should be or it would be very good if the AI models are adopted by communities, so that you become more or less independent from the big tech companies. But for instance, what we are doing now, those communities can be large. For instance, we are in the Netherlands. There is currently a project has started with funding from our government to create its own language model for the Netherlands. So and only using openly available resources. They are now in the stage of collecting all kinds of resources. There has been questions around for giving those resources to this team. So and so there will be a community, the Dutch community, who will be maintaining and using this language model. So that's, and for me that's important, because then you can you can also solve those questions for inclusiveness, for biases and so on.
Oh, wow, thanks for the very comprehensive answer, and also with the examples. So then you talk a lot about what is going on that people doing in the Netherlands about OpenAI. So I would like to explore your thoughts on the potential of OpenAI in education. How do you perceive the role of OpenAI in enhancing education? Do you think
I
it's
find it
actually...
I find it difficult. We have here in the Netherlands, there is an initiative no lie. I don't know what it is. I'll do a quick search, because I don't know what it is. What is meaning?
Yeah.
No lie. National Educational Lab AI. That's a national organization which is also funded by the government, who is thinking about the question you just asked about what can AI mean for education. I've not thought about this so much. I have thought about it. What can AI, and more specific generative AI, mean for OER, for open education in general, but open education resources more specific, and that's and I think it can make. I don't know. Have you followed the webinar David Wiley has done a month ago?
Yeah, he did it.
I didn't agree with everything he said in his webinar, but I think he gave a pretty good overview of directions you can think about, and in most cases, in largely, it was along the lines I was also thinking about. I think it can be a huge improvement in generating open educational resources. I don't agree with him that in the end OER will be replaced by generative AI or generative how did he call it? Generative AI instead of OER. I don't believe that because I think the repositories of OER, which are qualitative learning materials, are still and will remain useful for feeding the models used by those generative AI systems. But one big hurdle currently is that creating learning materials is very time spending effort, and at least in the Netherlands, teachers don't have time. So when they are assisted in creating a first version, for instance, which is for 95% already what they are looking for, that would help them usually to create their learning resources and then offer them on an open license. So I think that in that part, I think generative AI could mean a lot for OER. And I very much like this idea also of the new kinds of OER he presented as those open prompts and those open weights. So I think that those are kinds of, he calls it, if I'm wrong, generative OER. He calls things about classic or static OER and generative OER. And I think those latter are can be are a big advantage, I think, but not replacing. I didn't agree on that part of it.
I see. So basically, I believe that those claims actually need time. So we need to see how it's happened, right? See if it could happen or not. Yeah, that's right. But Robert, then I'm just curious about what do you think about the potential, the benefits of AI to be open? Do you think that human being will be beneficial from the open AI, or it should
Yes,
be
I
closed?
think. Yes, I think, and when you see what is already happening outside of education, that there are huge performance gains in organizations by using a generative AI. In most cases, it is a ChatGPT or some variants of it. In assisting those employees in performing their tasks. For instance, look at programming. The ChatGPT is able to generate first versions of programs which are nearly faultless in Python or whatever language you want it. Well, that's huge. And for education, I really think when the AI systems conform the things I just mentioned about what should it have to be open, then I think it will be very beneficial for education. And well, whether or not it's beneficial, it will appear. But I think it is good to see, and it's good to realize it, and it's good to prepare for that. And for instance, already think about professionalization of the current teachers in performing the AI readiness, in make them AI ready, make them critical about, but also take care that they have the skills to use these systems.
I see. So I also agree with you that the open access aspect of the AI currently, of some of the AI currently, is actually very beneficial. Like let's take the example of ChatGPT as an example. So we can see that it could, have enhanced. If we look only at the bright side, we can see that it's potential. But then I am also curious about, what are other future opportunities do you see for open AI in the education? Are there any emerging trends or developments that you believe will shape the future of openness in AI?
I don't know if I understand your question.
Yeah, so, because now given that the open access aspect of the AI at the moment, because we see that some AI is publicly available for people to use, although it's just some limited version. It's not the full version because we need to pay for a subscription, right? But then we can see that the open access aspect is somehow it's good for people to use, although it also have some the other side of it, but we just look at the bright side. So I'm curious, you can see that if this is a good thing to have, and is there any future opportunities for these AI to be fully developed, to be purely open, not just open access? What do you think? Do you think that it could be developed to be purely open, like open from the training set?
It would be good to strive for that, but I don't know if it is possible to come to this situation. Well, if you see how much is invested already in the current AI systems, by big tech companies like Microsoft, like Google, then there should be there is no government which can match that. So that could be it should be fueled by countries, governments working together in, for instance, UNESCO or, for instance, the OECD or so. And I doubt if they have the power and the power to realize that. There are to realize an effort which can be compared with what is currently already done by big tech companies. And I don't know if you should strive for that, but you could. What is done in Europe already is that they try to regulate AI. Europe has the EU Act, which gives regulations for the use of these models. I think that's a good way to go, because when you have these regulations, you should also be careful that you that when you violate those regulations, that you get punished. I don't know how they want to arrange that, but it's a good thing already that there is an EU Act, EU Act on AI, and but that's only in Europe. I don't know. I doubt it actually if this can be accomplished worldwide. So in that case, I think maybe those initiatives, like in the Netherlands, and that is part of a bigger, larger European project, which is aiming at constructing its own fully open language model, that can be an answer for what is already going on in commercial in commercial business, of course, accomplished by commercial companies. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Do you believe that those, those regulations or policy like the GDPR or the EU AI Act that would support the development and adoption of open AI technology? Do you think it could be something that's supporting the development and application of open AI?
I hope so.
You have so.
Yeah, because what is what actually you mentioned already that you have a limited version of ChatGPT when you use it for free, and when you also when you download a language model, you get a compacted language model which has not the strength of the full-blown language model, which is online available. Those when you want to use the full potential, you have to pay money, and then and that's the same as with well, actually with OER, the majority of resources is in English, which means that when English is not your mother tongue, you have so that is there. It is creating a gap between the people who have the potential in using the things which are offered openly, and those who are not. And the same counts also for these open AI kinds of tools. When you have the potential or the money or so to buy these kinds of subscriptions, then you are widening the gap between those who can and those who cannot. And it's always the same people who can and the people who cannot. And therefore, those local use of models and enhancing them with your own documents is a little bit closing this gap, but a little bit only. And that's what I think to realize a situation in which this gap is closing more and more. there should be much more cooperation between countries, not between institutions, but between countries, because I think that's the level you have to use, not the individual institutions.
Yeah, I see. I have the last question that actually about I would like to hear from you about the risks of open AI. So while you already mentioned that open AI can offer potential, but it's also important to consider the possible challenges. So what risks do you associate with the use of open AI in education in particular? Can you
Well,
see any risk?
those are the risks which everyone mentions. That is apart from what I just mentioned, the difference between you can pay for an advanced version and not. That is one risk, which because it enhances the gap between the haves and the have-nots. The bias in the data is a risk. Well, and more general, the lack of skills. Of both learners and teachers, which because the systems themselves are not perfect. The hallucination with which the systems are presenting their presenting their results like it is true, but it's not true. Everyone who is working with them sees the experiences that at some points these systems are not perfect and they make mistakes, and so you have to be critical about it, but you should be aware that you should be critical about it. Those kinds of things which for me connect to the skills of people. What I find a big advantage is that people that in education you now have to think about how should I change my education that, for instance, especially assessment will be more meaningful. The assessment, write an essay about topic X or Y. Well, ChatGPT can do it for you now. So we have to think about how do I reorganize my education that the type of assessment will be different, and in which you can say, okay, you can use all the tools you like, including those AI tools, but I have a form of assessment which is not dependent on you using the AI tools. So that is, and I think that's a good thing, because now educators really have to think through about what do I want to use? What do I want to realize with my education? The triangle from Biggs about the constructive alignment theory is now really important. And one of those three elements is assessment. It should fit with your learning goals. So.
Yeah, I see it could bring, I think, a big change in education and the way people do assessment as well. And also with the prevalence, more and more prevalence of the open access, open and accessible AI, I think that like you mentioned, the skill, or we can call AI literacy, is become more and more important, because especially students and also the teachers, they need to have that skills in order to use the AI. And it's just like how all you are available on the internet. So that's right. So thank you for sharing your insights today. So we wrap up, and is there anything else you would like to add or discuss regarding the use and future of open AI in education that we haven't covered, Robert?
I have nothing to add anymore. Thank you.
So thank you so much. It's a very helpful and very informative discussion. And we aim to get back to you with the recordings and also the transcript in, I think, 2 weeks. Am I right, Vid? In 2 weeks?
We'll do our best.
Yeah. And then once you approve, then we can process with the data analysis And yeah, so please waiting for our news, our emails.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for this conversation, and well, good luck with your research in this.
Yeah, have a good day too. Thank you, Robert.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Take
Thank
care.
you so much.
Bye.
Take care.